The 2026 World Baseball Classic, it's already delivering the kind of drama and electric atmosphere that has made this tournament one of the most exciting events in international sports. Team USA, they're off to a perfect 2-0 start in pool play as they look to position themselves for another deep run in this tournament. But the competition is fierce. Defending champion Japan, they've already clinched its pool, while traditional powerhouses like the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico, they're showing early signs that they could make serious runs in this tournament. So, what should we make of the early storylines in this year's WBC? For more on this, I'm joined by New York Post Sports contributor and a big fan of international competition in all sports. His name is Bryan Fonseca, and he joins me now. Bryan, how you doing, man? I know you are enjoying the WBC because nobody I know loves international competition as much as you do.
I have to keep reminding people why these tournaments matter. It means so much to a lot of people. Kike Hernandez did the work for me today. I don't know if you saw what he said earlier.
I did not see what he said. What comment did he make?
He said that he played in a bunch of World Series, and I'm paraphrasing, but he basically said this means more to him than playing in the World Series.
It's gonna
And
make some people
a
mad.
lot of people were surprised by that. And it's like, yo, it's different for these dudes when they're playing for their people and the culture they represent, as opposed to a random city in the United States.
I get it. I always understand it, but we understand some people are going to be mad because rule number one, you can always be mad. But Bryan, let's get into it right here. Team USA, they're off to a 2-0 start, as I mentioned, in pool play, including a strong performance from Clay Holmes, New York Mets pitcher, on the mound. When you look at how this team has opened the tournament, what has stood out to you the most about the way that they're playing right now?
They're doing what they're supposed to. They're handling their business. They're not playing with their food too much. I mean, with Great Britain, the offense took a little bit to get going, but ultimately they handled business. Clay Holmes, as you mentioned, struck out the side at one point, has 6 strikeouts in 3 innings, looked really good in relief, and ultimately they haven't had one of the stiff tests yet. Now, their pull, I wouldn't call it the most difficult, but we're still awaiting their games against Mexico and Italy, against Mexico in particular, but against Mexico and Italy. So that's where my eye is sort of towards right now as it pertains to Team USA. But beating Brazil 15-5, beating Great Britain 9-1, that's about what you expect with the team this loaded. One of the best lineups, obviously, in this competition, and obviously a really good pitching staff.
Yeah, definitely there and so hopefully poised to dominate as fans of Team USA are looking to do. But now at 2-0, they are in position to potentially clinch Pool B. How important is it for them to, as you said, not play with their food, lock that up early, not just for advancement, but for momentum and pitching management moving into the knockout stage? How important is it for them to wrap this up in their next game?
You always want to try to win your group to position yourself just for a better matchup in the next round. So if you win the group, I mean, you'll get the lesser of whoever's in second place from Pool A. Pool A is a pretty tough group right now, and you have 3 teams without a loss. Canada notwithstanding, we have to see how their matchup with Panama, which is going on right now as we speak, how that sort of ends up. But Puerto Rico's 2-0, Cuba's 2-0. They're actually going to play against each other on March 9th. That's going to be fun. We'll see what happens there. And if Canada does end up beating Panama, Canada's going to be in the mix too to get one of those spots. So there's a potential for USA versus Puerto Rico, USA versus Canada, USA versus Cuba. All of those will have probably ripple effects beyond baseball in terms of their intrigue, is what I would say, Dex. But ultimately, you do want to position yourself for the lesser of those 2 teams, obviously. If you don't win your group, it's not the end of the world because obviously Team USA is good enough to advance. But you want to do more than just that. You
Yeah.
beat Mexico and Italy, you're able to cruise, you're 4-0, and you are where you're supposed to be. That being said, you get out of group play or pool play, as it's called in the World Baseball Classic, single elimination from then on out. And basically, you're playing with March Madness and anything could happen. But that being said, they obviously have more than enough in totality to get by this pool and to get to at least the championship rounds, if not win the whole thing.
All right, we'll get to that a little bit later about them getting to that championship round and possibly winning the whole thing. Let's talk about the defending champs. That is Japan. They have already clinched their pool. We've already seen moments like Shohei Ohtani coming up big with some homers, which you kind of expect Shohei Ohtani things. But does it feel like Japan is still the gold standard in this tournament right now?
Yeah, kind of. Like I was talking with our guy, Bradford William Davis, about this beforehand, and we were talking about whether it felt like Japan brought the same level of talent as they did in the last World Baseball Classic. But inevitably what it's going to be, it's guys that we discover who then become really good beyond just obviously Shohei Ohtani, who we know all about, and frankly are getting like really getting to know on this world level again or getting reacquainted with. But remember, years ago, many World Baseball Classics ago, this is how we discovered Daisuke Matsusaka, or at least many of us did. Obviously, in Asia, you already knew who he was, and he came out and killed it in this tournament multiple times. And we saw what he did in turning this into a, you know, very enriching Major League Baseball career after that. Japan's really good, really stacked, and also they have a group that they're on track to win right now. They're 3-0, the only team that's 3-0 so far. Obviously, I think the Dominican Republic is going to join them. The Dominican Republic is probably the team that I've been the most impressed with in terms of just the sheer talent and lineup that they have. They mercy ruled the Netherlands today. They have Julio Rodriguez batting seventh in their lineup. They, I think, might be the most complete lineup out of everybody in this tournament, and it's ridiculous how much talent that team has. And they're going to be in a showdown with Venezuela at some point. That's probably going to be for the pool. That's going to determine a lot in terms of who gets to avoid Japan longer. So that's really one to circle. It's frankly the matchup that I'm looking forward to the most as far as all these matchups go. Pool D, Miami, Dominican Republic versus Venezuela. And the crowd is going to be amazing for that too. But the winner of that will probably get the gift of avoiding Japan, at least for the quarterfinals.
Yeah, that will be very interesting. But you mentioned the Dominican Republic and the DR. They put the world on notice with an offensive explosion, 4 home runs in one game. You talked about today. You just kind of wax poetic about their roster, but when you look at their roster and their lineup in particular, do they have the most dangerous lineup in the entire tournament? And is that enough to carry them to glory in this tournament?
Yes, and yes. Like, I wonder if they'll have enough pitching is probably the only thing. Like, once you face a Japan, once you face the United States, and obviously it's single elimination. Like, I can't even tell you that they're guaranteed to even beat Venezuela, who I think is also really talented. But the Dominican Republic, I mean, Juan Soto, Julio Rodriguez, who I mentioned, Fernando Tatis Jr., Manny Machado, like all these different guys, and Ketel Marte as well. Like all these different guys on their team are all stars and have been all stars and could be like they could compete with like a National League or an American League All-Star team. That's how good this lineup is and how good this team is. They're obviously capable of winning the whole thing. They just have electric bat after electric bat on the roster. They have galvanizing personalities beyond that also, like Vladimir Guerrero Jr., for example, who had a big hit in today's game as well. Like Austin Wells, you know what I mean? Like there's just all over team. It's just stacked. And on top of that, you have guys who are gap hitters. You have guys who can obviously take it deep, have power. You have guys who can get extra base hits. You have guys with speed as well. There was a time in the game against the Netherlands today where Juan Soto had such a big leap, had such a great jump on the pitcher to steal second base that there wasn't even a throw. And that's Juan Soto. You know what I mean? Like I'm not even talking about like Juan Pierre in his prime. Like this is a
Right.
team that just has everything they need offensively. We'll see when it comes to everything else. Like Juan Soto did have an error in the first game that people wanted to run and post on social media, so to speak. But at the same time, the team is really good. They're good enough to win. I think they're the biggest threat to a Japan versus Team USA repeat, and it's not even that close right now.
All right, so you got them as the biggest threat to that rematch between Japan and Team USA. But we got to talk about another nation here. We got to talk about your nation, Puerto Rico. They always seem, and Bryan, you know this, they seem to bring a different kind of energy to this event. Both from the players, right? That's number one, the energy they're bringing. Then the fans that we've seen in San Juan. How much of an advantage does that passion and environment give them during this tournament? And I also have to say, we need more of that in Major League Baseball. Please watch what they're doing there. That's the kind of energy we need to bring to games. But I digress. How much of an advantage does that passion environment give the Puerto Ricans during this tournament?
Beyond that, the win was so important too. I mean, for people who missed it, and you probably haven't by now, it's just an electric moment. And they were down 2-1 in the bottom of the ninth. And I was watching the game like, yo, they just don't have the offense. And then this goes back to all the insurance things that they dealt with that didn't allow Carlos Correa to play, didn't allow Francisco Lindor to play, Javi Baez wasn't allowed to play, and so on and so forth. Like they were the team impacted the most by this, one would argue, and I would argue that. And then you get into extra innings, you get the bases loaded walk, You have the man on second, obviously in extra innings because you got to speed these games up. And then you have in a do or die situation, Darrell Hernaiz gets the walk-off home run, electric, 10th inning against Panama in a game they needed to win. Like you could not afford, if you want to advance, if you're Puerto Rico, you can't really afford to lose that game against Panama, even if you're home, because you do have Cuba coming up. That's going to be a pretty dangerous matchup, and we're going to see what happens with the Canadian national team as well, who people are optimistic about, and we're optimistic about going into the tournament. But the electricity, like the crowd shots, are so good. Frankly, I mean, there's everybody. If you go to a game at Hiram Bithorn Stadium, they're going to show you in the crowd. Like they're showing every single person possible on the Fox and FS1 broadcasts, with the different hats and things of that nature. But like the Bad Bunny hat and all the different variations of the PR hat. Not this one though, because this one's limited edition. But like you see all the different gear and everything like that. It's just great. I love it. Frankly, I wish I was there for work reasons. I couldn't be, but I do think that they're bringing the energy and the team needs it because this isn't the best version of what the team could be ultimately. But hey, we did see this catapult the team into success. Puerto Rico was able to host a FIBA World Olympic qualifying tournament in 2024. And the basketball team ended up going to the Olympics off the strength of their crowd, beating Lithuania, beating Mexico, beating the Italian national team, underdogs in multiple games, and were able to get to the Olympics for the first time in 20 years. Maybe this magic will transfer to the baseball team now. We'll see.
We shall see. It's very interesting to see what's going on with the Puerto Rican national baseball team. Last thing for me, Bryan, if Team USA, Japan, and the Dominican Republic are the teams many people expect to be there at the end of this tournament, who do you think has the edge right now, and what will ultimately decide who wins this World Baseball Classic in 2026?
It's going to be pitching. I'm still going to say that Japan has the best all-around chance, has the best all-around team. And right now, has obviously looked dominant in this tournament, and we expect that to continue for at least pool play. But the Dominican Republic, I can't stop watching this lineup and being captivated by, hey, any inning, they can just go off for a series of hits and a series of runs and just really put the pressure on you. They could mercy rule just about any team in this tournament, except for obviously the other elite ones, like the ones we're talking about. I think Japan end to end and Team USA obviously has great lineup. Aaron Judge, you saw his home run in the first game. Like that's something that you have a lot of guys with the capability of doing. They also have some speed. But I think with the pitching, that's what it's going to come down to. Can the Dominican Republic, who I believe has maybe the most talented bats in this tournament, can they get enough outs? Can they produce enough outs? And from a defensive perspective, can they get it done on the field? Because hitting is one thing, but obviously we know this, watching the Mets in this market, one of the things they talk about all the time is run prevention. And so far, Dominican Republic has been able to hold up their end of the bargain in terms of run prevention. But again, they haven't played Venezuela yet. And I think I don't want to sleep on Venezuela too much. I think they're a team that also has some electricity and has some gap hitters as well and has some power as well in their lineup. But I think it's going to come down to who can just execute in terms of a pitching staff, because we know, Dex, you're not having one guy go out there and give you 7 innings. There are pitch counts, there are limitations. You're going to need to piece together with 4, 5, maybe 6 different guys. It's situational. And when we get to the end, we might even see more than that. So, do they have the arms to sort of get them through if the pitching is there from, say, a Japan or the United States? But right now, I think the Dominican Republic look awesome. I think Team USA is getting it done. And I think Japan looks dominant. And I think those 3 are above everybody else right now as we speak.
All right, we will see who comes out on top at the end of this World Baseball Classic. Team USA off to a good start at 2-0. Japan, they've clinched their group at 3-0. Dominican Republic also off to that good 2-0 start as well. That is Bryan Fonseca, contributor with us here at New York Post Sports. Bryan, I'm going to let you get back to enjoying the rest of what you love, international competition with the World Baseball Classic. Thank you, man.
I'll be doing a watch along on my channel, Puerto Rico's next game Tuesday night. So tune in for that.
Of course you will. Of course you will. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.